Hey everybody, it's the finale. It's the finale video of the epic Excel series that we've been doing from the last few days. It's all about pivot tables today. This is the last video of the Excel series. Hopefully we might come back with a new series and a new topic. For now, let's start this video with pivot tables. What is a pivot table? Let's go with what is a pivot table. Pivot tables are the tables which help us in summarizing the data based upon our requests. It will help us in summarizing the data with aggregate functions such as you might be knowing sum, average, count, all of this stuff, min, max and all of this stuff. But we need to be crystal clear about the requirement of ours. Once we have the requirement cleared, we'll be able to build pivot tables and be able to analyze the data. Once we analyze the data, we'll be able to easily take up some decisions and we'll be able to move with our business as well. Yeah, now that we know what is a pivot table is, how do we build a pivot table? Yeah, let's start off with building a pivot table. For pivot table analysis, I've just downloaded a small file from internet, that is a product sales region dataset. In the dataset we have multiple columns with the date, region, product, quantity, unit price, store location, salesperson, total price, customer, and whatnot, also of columns. But we need to be crystal clear what needs to be done in pivot tables. To build a pivot table, what do we know? Click anywhere on the dataset. Please pay attention while this has been going on, because this is a prominent topic and it will help you in day-to-day basis. Please select anywhere on the table, right? Anywhere in the table, and go to this insert section. The first option is the pivot table. You need to click on the pivot table. Yes, this particular prompt will be popped on our screen and this will ask us to select the range. What does this range do? This range will help this Excel to know what are all the columns that we do have and on what columns that we need to perform the pivot table analysis. And once we give the source data, then we are happy to move forward. And where do we want to build our pivot table? Yeah, it is auto selected, the range. If not, we can always manually select it doing it so. Okay, but for now let's select it all. Okay, now that we have selected it all from A1 to S1501, this is the range. And where do we want to create our new pivot table? Obviously in a new worksheet. Unless if we want to make our existing worksheet so complex and so sophisticated, let's not do that. Let's create the pivot table in a new worksheet. Upon selection in new worksheet, let's click OK. The pivot table fields are now been appearing over here. This is the most useful place in the Excel pivot table. Okay, let's see one by one. We have all the column names. Yeah, all the columns, yes. What are these for? This is the play area for us, where we play with all of these columns and play with that and get our results. Based upon the result table, that is the pivot table, is where we do our analysis. Consider rows over here, columns like this. Values is the data, is the combination data that we get over here. Filter is to filter out the data based upon a criteria. Once we give the criteria, the data gets filtered. Upon the filtration, only the filtered data will be viewed. Let's do one thing. Let's go back to the original sheet and see what sort of analysis that we want to do. For suppose, let's think of it as a appraisal season. We have salesperson and we have managers and we have the total price that they have sold in this particular quarter. So what do we want to do is, let's sum up the total of sales that each and every other individual salesperson has done and see done more and who has done less, and based upon that we can always have our appraisal meetings. Let's do that then. Let's go to this particular sheet. Then what are we doing? Yes, we are calculating the salesperson's performance. For that we need to have the salesperson. Yes, we got the salesperson. These are the distinct salesperson that we have had in the entire sheet: Alice, Bob, Carlos, Diana, Eva, Frank. These are the 6 salesperson that we have in the entire data sheet. What did they do? They have sold few items and we have the total price. What's the total price? Based upon the salesperson, total price of their sales is 7,86,000. For Alice, Bob's is 7,96,000, and similarly for other salespersons as well. If you see, let's go back. This is somewhere around what? Okay, 43,79,000, somewhere around. Okay, let's go and see. Yeah, all of this adds up to the same 43 lakhs 79,000. Yes, the calculation hasn't been wrong, but it has been segregated as per the salesperson, right? For Alice, it's just somewhere around 7 lakhs 86, but in entirety he is somewhere around second. But Bob has the highest sales, 7 lakhs 96,000, right? So if you see it that way, Bob deserves more appraisal when compared to the rest of all the other salesperson. Yeah, and let's filter it over here as well. Let's do one thing. Let's apply a filter over here. Filter, yeah, filter salesperson, unselect Bob. Yeah, yes. Upon selecting Bob, all the fields are of Bob, and if you see 7 lakhs 96,000, 7 lakhs 96,000, it absolutely matches because Excel is intelligent and compared to our human brain, right? So this has been filtered as per the Bob. We can do it similarly for each other person, each other salesperson. Let's come back to the pivot table, right? Alice, Bob, Carlos, Diana, Eva, Frank's details have been come up easily. What else can we do? Maybe we can have their sales on the basis of a product. What we can do, we can have column as product. Alex has sold the chairs with a total sum of 91,300 rupees. Similarly, Bob has sold the chairs 1,21,000 with an amount of 1,21,000. So we can always see it this way. The values appear here, the columns over here, the rows over here, right? The aggregated sums will be at the bottom and the rightmost column and the bottommost row. We can always look at it, and we have filled those column, rows and values, right? And what else is remaining? Filters. You might be wondering what the filter is. Filter is just a filter. On what basis we can filter it? We can filter it on the basis of what yeah, please give me a suggestion. We can filter it on the basis of store location. Fair enough, right? As soon as I add the filter store location, there is a small section that has been added over here. If you look at it, there are 4 stores. If you select the store A, the details with respect to store A is appearing over here. At store A, Alice has sold the chairs worth of 32,417 rupees and desk worth of 13,836. If you see, the most sales has been done by what is this guy's name? Bob. Yeah, Bob again. Bob at store A is standing at around 1,89,000. Right? We can have select multiple stores. Just skipping out one store. We can do whatever we want. Okay, this is how you filter the data. Filter is just to filter out the data. Everything boils down to what is required and what needs to be done, right? The requirement should be crystal clear. Once the requirement is set, you will be able to play with the entire pivot table and see the results. Pivot tables help you out with the requirement, and the requirement should be set in your mind so perfect enough that it will be done in fraction of seconds in the pivot tables. Now that you have got an idea about the filters, columns, rows and values, you can always change what in the rows and columns based upon the requirement. See, whichever is the easiest way for you, you can always do that. Let's do one thing. Alice has sold somewhere around 110 number of chairs. He has sold 110 chairs, the quantity. Alice has sold 128. Let's see. Let's go to sheet number 1 and see if Alice has sold that that amount of chairs. Alice, where are the product name? Chairs. This is the quantity. Sum is 349. Alice and the product is chairs. Let's see 349. Alice chair 349. No, since we have had the filter, let's remove the filter and select all. Yes, now that you will be able to see it. 349. You might be wondering, what if we change something in the original data over here? Let's do a small change. Let's say 50. We've increased it by 20. What happens? It still remains 349. But what we can do is, let's go to pivot table analysis section. There's a button called refresh. You can refresh it. As soon as I click refresh button, it has increased. Once the source data has been changed, you can always refresh it and see what does the recent values do appear, right? Now that we are in this particular field as well, particular section, let's have a look at slicer. Slicer is similar to filter, but in the form of a GUI. Let's slice it based upon the regional manager. Okay, click OK. This is how the slicer looks. Under Cameron, how many number of chairs has been sold by Alice is 65, and under Eric it's 68, Rand is 35. So we can look at the data based upon the filter in a GUI format. You can also select multiple. When under working Cameron and Rand, what is the number of chairs that has been sold by Alice? That is 100. You can select multiple and see. Filter works this way, and this is how you can use the slicer. All of these other options you can browse it on yourself, and if you have any doubts, please comment it down. I'll be able to help you out with that. Pivot table will help you with a number of solutions, but once you have your problem statement ready. If you don't have the problem statement ready, it will confuse to hell. Okay, don't be that guy, and you have your problem statement ready. And that's a wrap on the Excel part for beginners, from opening Excel for the first time to formulas, lookups, charts, and now pivot tables. You genuinely built a solid foundation. If you have followed along all these 10 videos seriously, well done, and that's not nothing. If this series helped you, I would really appreciate a like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments that you would like to see next, whether that's more advanced Excel topics or something completely different. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.